So today I did a thing, and I went down a little south of Rockingham, North Carolina, just across the South Carolina line, and I picked up this little, what would be an M151, but is actually an M718 ambulance. It's a 1964 model, and we'll go over here to the data plate. And it was sent from Ford, I believe this one is, to the Rock Island Arsenal, which converted M151 MUTTs into M718 Frontline Ambulances. So I thought that was really cool that this one had been an ambulance, you know, in the Vietnam War time frame. I did some looking and kind of deciphering as best I could, and we get a 82AB, which should be 82nd Airborne, and looking at it at the time period, that would have been the 307th Medical Battalion. And it's pretty neat with the fact that the 82nd Airborne's in Fayetteville, which is only, I don't know, about 45 minutes or so from here. So it was a locally based MUTT. As you can see, it is rough. It is rough. I'm hoping it's not beyond my abilities, but I really don't know. You see a lot of ground in a lot of places. And then the roll bar, safety. Windshield fell out on the way back. Glass on it's on the trailer over there. It was fun to roll around because the transmission's stuck in gear. Don't think the engine's stuck. I was able to grab the fan and turn the fan, and the crank pulley did turn. So I do like the fact that it's all complete though. It's got its axles, differentials, engine, transmission, you know, transfer case is one unit in these. But said it's a heavy duty project, very heavy duty project. But I got to looking at it, you know, it's, this thing's making oil, but it's in, you know, decent shape inside. You know, I pulled the oil cap off, and from what you can see in the top end anyway, I don't know if the camera will see or not, probably not, but either way, you know, it's clean in there. It's not all rusty and crusty and nasty. And the radiator, I didn't see any antifreeze in, but I can smell antifreeze, so I've started soaking some of the bolts because this windshield's got to go. It's in really bad shape. But it was U.S. Army 2K 2330, which puts this at kind of the mid quarter or so, third, whatever, of 1964. And you can see, you know, you can still pick out stars, stenciling, and more stars in the back. So I thought it was really cool that it's very original, very rusty, but very original. And it still has some of the ambulance parts, like these brackets for the stretcher hangers. Ambulances had doublers on the corners with different types of little lift rings there. So it's got those. Side mount spare tire carrier. It's got the jerry can holder that goes up here. Somebody in the past, what looks like 50 years, has put some kind of trailer rim or something on there, whatever they are, and some of them big old mud gripper tires. So I got to get a set of original style wheels for it. This thing was cut. For those of you that don't know about the M151 series, the military, when they surplused them, because they considered, especially these 151A1s like this one, unsafe at any speed like the Corvairs were, because they will tuck the independent suspension under and roll over on you in a heartbeat. So as a liability thing, so they say, they cut them all the way across. You can see a cut line which continues into the floor pan there and then up to the side. Now a lot of people would buy them cut and then either use them for parts, because I could find parts galore for these things. I just can't find the whole MUTT or Jeep, whichever one you want to call them. But they'd either do that or they would weld them back together, and somebody did this one back together, which is kind of nice. I'm not going to crush this thing. I bought it from a scrapyard. The story I was told was the grandfather died, this and about a 74, 75, whatever, Ford F100 were on the property, and the grandkids wanted absolutely nothing to do with it, so they sold the F100 and the MUTT here just for scrap, and the salvage yard came, picked them up, and the guy at the salvage yard at least knew that this was something worth either saving or using for parts or whatever, but something better than just being smelted down and sent to China for scrap. And I'm glad they did. I went down there and picked it up. You know, I gave $800 for it, which is I'm sure what some people will call high, but at the same time, for what these are, the people that are in the know, it's not too awful bad, especially for one that's complete, you know, engine, transmission, driveline, all that good stuff. But also, for those that don't know, I keep saying MUTT, and that's M-U-T-T, Military Utility Tactical Truck. And that was the acronym, so they weren't technically Jeeps. Somebody has cut the floor pan for reasons I don't know, but that's your rear differential that bolts directly to the frame. These were unibody, unlike a Willys at the time, or, you know, CJs, anything like that, M38A1s. They were body on frame where you had a tub on top of a frame. These were unibody, which was the killer for these things. Most of them rusted away, which this one is really, really working towards that. So you can see underneath, they were fully independent suspension back in the day, which is what led to the problems. The 151 A2s had a little bit redesigned rear suspension, and they were a little better. Not a lot, but a little bit better. And the front axle was the same way. They were bolted to a frame. You can see up under this front bumper, there's the front differential carrier and independent suspension. And its little CV axles under there, such as they are. That's a very heavy project. I would like to take it back into a 718 ambulance. I talked to a guy in Tennessee who was really wanting to buy this thing before I bought it. I ended up giving the guy a deposit, and when I went down there to pick this thing up, he said, "Oh yeah, the guy wants you to call him, blah blah." Well, anyway, he's got a lot of parts, so I hope to get, you know, seat frames, fuel tank, which goes right in here, because right now it ain't got no gas in it. But a lot of work to do. These had a 4-speed, where a lot of the you know, the MBs, GPWs of World War II, and then the M38s and 38A1s after that were 3 speeds. But they were getting in high class with their 4th gear in this. But unlike the Willys, Kaiser, AM General of the time, these did not have a high and low. They had an in and an out for the 4-wheel drive, which is the small stick. That's your parking brake. But they said they were geared low enough that they did not do a high-low. So you just got what you got. And the windshield does still fold. I put a pin in it, but it's working on folding itself already. Pretty beat up, needs a lot of work. It's all there. Be interesting for the channel. I kept saying I was going to learn how to weld. I don't know if this will be the thing to practice on, but either way, we'll see. But there's my 1964 M151, it's an M718 converted ambulance that was part of the 82nd Airborne 307th Medical Battalion, 2K2330.